Hey everyone, in my last video I spoke about Ansible and did show a demo how exactly Ansible works. Now in this video I'm going to just quickly show you how do you install Ansible on a Ubuntu desktop. So I'm headed to the official website ubuntu.com, download desktop. So I went here in the desktop, and in the desktop you can download the a version. So click on download and it'll ask you for an email if you need to submit it. Otherwise it'll download the file any which ways. So once you download the file, in my case my download is already completed, so I'm not downloading it now. So but as soon as you head to this particular page, you will see like this particular file you see on the bottom here. So it says like Ubuntu 2204 desktop AMD ISO file that gets downloaded. If in case the download doesn't start, so you can right click and save this link as and get the downloaded started. So once the download is complete, what you have to do is you have to go to your virtual machine or ESX or maybe a workstation. So in the workstation, click on File, New Virtual Machine, and then click on Typical and Next. So you say I'll install the operating system later. Click on Next, choose Linux here, and in the drop down choose Ubuntu 64. Click on Next, give it a name, for example Ansible demo. Just to give an example, click on Next, make it like 100 GB approx. Customize the hardware, so make it 4 GB. Two processor, if you need two processor you can, otherwise you can also work with one processor. In the net I'm choosing my LAN bridge network, and now in the CD DVD I'm going to choose the downloaded ISO file. So here is my downloaded Ubuntu ISO file. Click on close, finish. So once you finish that, you have to power it on and then click on try or install Ubuntu. Okay, so it'll give you some options once the GUI page loads here. So let's wait. Okay, still it is trying to load up the page. Okay, so it shows me a screen right now. It's coming up with some installation steps here. Okay, so it says, do you want to try Ubuntu or install Ubuntu? So we'll say install Ubuntu. Now it's asking for the keyboard layout. In my case, I'm going to use English US. So if in case if you have different keyboard layout, you can choose different. Click on continue. Here it is asking whether you want to do normal office, normal installation or minimal installation. So I would go for minimum installation because I don't need all the media players, games and whatnot. I just need the very basic ones. And the next option, it says like download updates while installing Ubuntu. So what happens, right, when you install Ubuntu, if you don't choose this option, you might have to update your Ubuntu box. So if you check this box, so in immediate I mean simultaneously it'll try to download the files whatever is required online for the updates and get it completed, right? So what I'll do is I'll click on continue. It says like, do you want to erase your disk and install Ubuntu? We'll say yes, because I am not going to, I'm not used an existing disk which is used by something else. So I'm going to erase disk and install Ubuntu. Click on install. It says if you continue, the changes listed below will be written to the disk. Otherwise, you will not be able to, you will be able to make changes further manually, right? So we'll say continue. Here you have to choose your location. So in my case, it's Kolkata is that NTP or time. I'll click on continue. Otherwise, if you have different time zone, you can choose. It is asking you for a username. So in my case, I'll mention as Avinash, or maybe instead of virtual machine, I'll make it as Ansible demo, Avinash, and choose a password. Okay. So how do you want to log in? Is it like you want to log in automatically or it requires a password? So in my case, I'll mention it as requires a password to log in. Now it will do the installation, start copying the files and do the installation. So this will take approx 30 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll pause the video for now and then we'll resume this video once the files are copied successfully on this machine. Okay, so the installation is complete. So now it is asking to restart the computer in order to use the installation. So we'll say restart and it will go through a reboot mode and then you will see a login screen on your Ubuntu box. Okay, so it says remove the installation key, installation medium, and then press enter. Will hit enter. Okay, so it's loading up some screens. So if you see, my name is listed here. So I'll enter the credential. So by default, if you see, you're not able to, log into the root account. So because the root account is not available for all the users to log in. So if you want to have a root account enabled, you can do that as well. For example, if you look at my case and my previous demo, I've enabled the root account. So I'll quickly take you through the process. How do you enable the root account? Okay, for some reason my mouse is not working here. Let me see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the below 9 dots and I'll open up the terminal. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll enter the command as sudo password root. It is asking me the password for Avinash, so I'll enter the password. So it is asking me to set up the new password for root. I just did set up the new password. Now I'll enter sudo -u root. Okay. So now what I have to do is I have to go to sudo nano etc gdm3 custom configuration. Now here there will be a I have to add the line at the end, or maybe here I'll add as, so not with the hash, I'll add as allow root equal to root and then control X and Y enter. So let's verify if the configuration was added. So yes, it was added. Allow root. So now we have allowed root. Now if you log out and log in, so ideally we should be able to see the root. Also I missed one thing. I have to go here and then I have to check for the authentication here. Just give me a second. where exactly it is. It's not here actually. It's in a different file. GDM password. And then here I have to come here and then, yeah, I have to put a hash here. So I comment this out. Authentication required. PAM succeed. If so, not equal to root wide success. And save this. Enter. Yes. Let's see if the comment does. Yes, comment out is ended successfully. Now what I'll do is I'll do a reboot. So once this goes through a reboot process, so I should be able to ideally see the root account there. Let's see. Second thing, what we have to do is like by default, when you do a SSH, your root account will not be allowed. So we have to make sure like we allow the root account when we are doing a SSH. So let's see what exactly I mean by this. So it's again up to you whether you want to use the root account or not. So this is optional, completely optional. So not listed. I'll mention as root. Okay, so it's completely, as I mentioned, like it's optional step whether you want to enable the root account or not. For me, I always prefer to enable root account on my system level and work. Okay, I go here and then terminal. Okay, so now let's see what is the IP address set for this particular server. So I'll enter network. So I go to the network here, click on settings here, here settings, and IPv4 settings. It's using DHCP at this time. So I'll add its IP address 85.24.0.1 and then put a DNS server. Save. Okay. Save. Now let's try to ping. Okay, we are able to ping the server. Let's try to do SSH from my system. Okay, so if you notice, like I'm not able to do SSH, but I'll be able to ping from my system. Oh, I'm not able to ping this server. Is it the correct IP address that I assigned? Let me verify. Okay, I go here back. I go to the network. Wide setting and then IPv4. Yeah, 85 is what I have assigned. So what I'll do is I'll do a quick reboot of the server after assigning the IP address, because from my system I'm not able to ping SIMs, right? So reboot. Ideally I should have restarted the network services, but I've not done that, but I just rebooted the server. Let's see. Okay, so I'll log in here now. Now let's see if I'm able to ping the IP address. So if you see, I'm able to do ping. Now let's try to do a SSH. I'll restart this connection again. So if you see, I'm not able to SSH. So probably what we have to do is we might have to make sure like we run some SSH service on that. Let's try again. So see, I'm not able to SSH. So which means like SSH service is not enabled by default. So we might have to enable SSH on this server. I'll enter the command sudo apt install. Oh, this is my system. Let me go here and go to the terminal. I'll enter the command sudo apt open. It's one word. Open SSH server. So yes. Okay, so the installation is successful. So let's see if we are able to SSH now. Okay, it now prompts for the SSH. I'll accept. First, we'll try with root account. So you will notice that root account is not allowed. But if I try with my actual account that I used to create, that is also not allowed, it seems. Oh, it's not a Kanali, it's Avinash. Sorry. Okay, so if you see, I'm able to log in with my actual account that I used to create during the installation of your Ubuntu. But when I'm trying to log in by the root account, it does not allow me. So what I have to do here? So I have to modify the SSH file in such a way that I'm able to, basically uh, allowed to do SSH on this particular server. So what I do here is vim slash etc, sorry, config. Okay, VIM is not found. I'll do a VI instead. So in this VI, let's see, permit root login is the thing that we have to allow. So if you see here, it says permit root login. Oops. Let me use a different tool to modify this. Instead of VI, nano. Yes. Now let's use this permit root login. I'll make it as yes. And then X, save this, yes, enter. Now I have to restart the SSHD service in order to make this work. Let's try mctl restart SSH service. Okay, let's try now. Restart root. Okay, so if you see, I'm able to log into the root server using the root account. Now what we have to do is, as we are able to log in via the root account, we have to now install Ansible. I just open up the required commands to enable Ansible or install Ansible. So first and the foremost, we'll copy the first line, sudo apt add repository pp Ansible. So once we do that, after this step is completed, then we will add the second command. Okay, so the first part is done. So now we'll install Ansible. So it says, do you want to download this file? We'll say yes. So it will take some few minutes. By default, just for everyone's awareness, so Python will be already pre-installed on this particular machine, so you don't have to install Python. Okay, so Ansible is also installed now. So we'll work with the same demo that we did yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable this virtual machines, and then we'll test the demo, whether the demo works or not. I'm sure it's not going to work because we have to install some required modules. So let's enable the demo router here. I'll minimize this, close this window. So this is what we have used. If you remember yesterday, when we were trying to access this particular routers, it was giving an SSH error. So we'll go through the same process again, just for the demo please again. So I'll make it directory called mkdir ansible demo cd ansible demo vi host dot ini file, copy this particular data, paste it here. So in case if you're new to this particular, if you're looking for this video for the first time, so you can watch the previous video where I have mentioned about, how exactly, what exactly this command host file or the YAML file does in my previous video. Okay, I'll use nano instead of this. So nano is far better. Okay, Control X, save. So this file is saved. Now I'll use the YAML file. So I'll name the YAML file as ansible demo.yml, and now I'll copy this particular files. Okay, now save this file. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to run these commands and see if I'm able to run the Ansible or not. Let's run Ansible playbook -i host, and then we'll put Ansible demo. Okay, let's run. So it says there is some error in order for the Ansible requires the local encoding to be UTF-8 format, and this format whatever we have used is not correct. Now let's fix this. So I have another step that we have to use in order to fix this. So we'll enter the command sudo nano locale, and then in the step 2 what we are going to do is in the language this thing we are going to copy this. Okay, now save this file. Now we'll use the third line, and now we'll restart the machine. So let's wait for it to come up. Okay, so the machine has come up. So let me restart the session again. Cd ansible demo, and we'll try to run the same command that we have used earlier. Okay, so now as I mentioned, right, so we expected some error. So this error, let me increase the size of this particular window. So appearance, font settings, change this to 16 probably so that you can better see it. Now this is expected, right? So as I mentioned, like we are going to hit some error. So this is related to your fading back due to Paramicos, because Paramico module is not installed. So what I'll do is pip install Paramico. Now if you notice here, I'm not able to install using the pip. So what it says is like we have to use this particular command in order to install the Python pip module. So let's do that. We'll say yes. So after this particular pip is installed, then we are going to install the module Paramico. Now, so this is the command that we have used previously, to install Python 3 pip. Right now, I'll install Paramicom module now. Okay, so it says like Paramicom module is warning run as a pip root user, which is I think we can we are okay with that because we are into the root. As I mentioned, root is something like it's very dangerous as well. So use it as at your own risk. But I prefer to use root account. So we'll again now try to go there and run the command. So Ansible playbook -i host Ansible demo. Let's see now. We'll again get an error. Okay. Let's also install this Ansible this thing py lib ssh, right? Okay, so this is installed. Now let's try again. So now what it is saying is like it is again feeding. Why it is feeding? So as I mentioned, the authenticity of the host cannot be established. Host is unknown. The RSA fingerprint so and so, etc. Right? Those. So this is related to RSA fingerprint. So what we are going to do is either there is two way, right? So let me show you both the ways here again. So first is SSH from this particular host. Cisco at the rate 172.160.200. So what I'm doing is I'm doing SSH to one of the router using this command so that it will accept the RSA key and store the RSA key here. So what it's saying me, are you sure you want to are you sure you want to continue connecting? So we'll say yes. Now I enter the password. Sorry, password. So you see I'm able to log into the router now. I'll exit from this interface. Now, if I try the same command, it will succeed for one router. It will not succeed for another router because we have accepted the RSA key only for the one router. Before I do that, let me first go ahead and remove the previously added, router OSPF configuration. Cisco to SPF. So SPF is already added here. So what I'll do is I'll remove the configuration. Sorry. I'll do it from another router as well. Okay, I have removed the configuration. Now, if I run this command, it will succeed for one router. It will not succeed for another router. So let's verify. So as I mentioned, right? So it succeeded for one router. It didn't succeed for another router. Let me show you the configuration. So router 1 works, whereas if I do the same configuration for router 2, it will not work. Right? So this is because we have not accepted the RSA key on this particular Ubuntu box. So another way to ignore the RSA key is we'll go here mkdir/etc/ansible. Okay, so the file already exists. So what I'll do is vim sudo nano etc ansible, and we'll modify the Ansible configuration. So in this Ansible configuration, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a command, so which is going to ignore your SSH key. So we'll make it as default, and then host underscore key underscore checking equal to false. Now save this configuration. Now we'll try again. Let's see what happens. Okay, it changed for router 1. Still, there is some issue for the router 2. Let's see what is the issue. The authenticity. Okay, it's looks like this command didn't work. Let me check why it didn't work. Let's verify the configuration file again. It should be defaults actually. And this let's try to make it as a capital F false. Let's try again. Now it should fail for the first router. It should not fail for the second router because in the first router, the configuration is already applied. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it changed for second router. It changed for this first router. Right. So this is how exactly you install Ansible on a Ubuntu box, and so we have covered like how do you install the Ubuntu box. Secondly, we have covered like how do you enable root access on your Ubuntu, and also how to enable SSH for the root access. And thirdly, what we have also covered is like we have tried installing Ansible on the Ubuntu box, and then tried installing the required modules that is required for the Ansible to work. And then we have tested the configuration here. We have also enabled the or I would say like we have also disabled the host key checking for the devices, so that when we try to run the or access the devices, it should not give us an error related to the RSA fingerprint, right? So we'll furthermore deep dive into the errors or issues, or what are the configuration that we can do using Ansible. Till then, I hope you like this video. Thank you for watching.